and she'd want, I'd want her to call like Lola. I had a date with Lola one time, and I was in no shape to go on a date. Well, my dad made her call and tell her that I wouldn't be in on the... But it's not easy. You gotta have help to adjust. And just stop and think. Thank God I didn't have to shoot women and children like they are over in Iraq. And that is a big thing. That's hurting a lot of them boys. And they're going to have a lot of help. And I'm glad I didn't have to shoot any of them.
We've got 5 minutes on the tape. We may have to change the tape here shortly. We've got 5 minutes left on the tape.
Oh.
We met in Shanghai on one of our trips.
Let's take a short break.
Okay. Okay. My next question was about how you keep in contact with your fellow veterans and any organizations you belong to.
Okay. After the war, we started having these SACO conventions, Navy conventions of our group. The first one my wife and I went to was in Chicago at Edgewater Beach Hotel in Chicago. But that was our first one. At that time, we only had 2 children, 2 of the older boys. And of course, we didn't have the money, we were working, but from then on, we started going to several of them. We had them every year. The only ones we met was 1 or 2 that they had before Chicago. So, and we've been going, very few we've missed. We've been going to practically all of them. This last one was in Midland, Texas, here a couple of weeks ago. There was, 15 of us, SACO men, actually SACO men that was there. The associate members, and they're wanting to take over, the associate members who's got parents and dads and them that was in SACO. Well, we're wanting to, when the last SACO man died, we got a bottle of champagne. And the last 2 guys alive are supposed to drink it. So, but the associate members want to keep it going. I don't know how it's going to work out, whether it's going to work out good or not, but we have these every year at different places. It used to be, back years ago, we'd have it this year, and Taiwan would have it the next year. And they would take all the officers and several of us, and they'd always have it, what they call double 10, which would be like our 4th of July. But we keep in touch all the time. Next year's going to be in Raleigh, South Carolina, or North Carolina, somewhere. We contacted our historian, and he said he thinks there's about 250 of us left from what he can gather. And this last year, we lost a lot of them. Because, well, I'm 87, and there's a lot of them was older than I was. So that's how we keep in contact.
All right, and would you tell me any life lessons you feel like you took away from your service?
Feel like what?
Life lessons that you took away from your service. Things you've learned from being in military service.
Well, you learn, just like Navy intelligence. I call it Navy intelligence. It was none other than spy work. I don't say spy work because it's Navy intelligence, but it was nothing other than that. I learned one thing, to be respectful of the life I've had and the great country we live in more than anything, and the freedom, the life, and the happiness, and it was all well worth it. I mean, you learn obedience and all that before all that, and you learn to respect. One thing, you learn to respect other people, their problems, and the way they believe and feel.
And is there anything else that you'd like to add for the record?
Well, I wanted to say one thing. When we was in Taiwan, it was very impressive for my wife and I. Our group got to go meet Madam Shang. We had tea with Madam Shang, tea and cookies. Her husband, the general, he was still alive, but he was too sick to meet with us. We went up to the palace in Taiwan where they lived, and she gave us a book on poems that she had written. We still got that book. It's priceless. And but I'd met her before. I think I met her in Chongqing when they was up there to a banquet or something. She was a very beautiful lady, very beautiful. And what else, Lola? Anything I can think of?
How she made you couldn't fraternize with the Chinese girls.
Well, no, it was real strict. I mean, when we signed up all this in Washington, D.C., Madam Shang had set up a deal that you didn't fool with the Chinese girls, no way. Well, they wouldn't fool with us because they'd always walk on the other side of the street if they seen us coming. Which, some of them Chinese girls were beautiful girls. You've probably seen pictures of them and everything. They're beautiful girls, but we didn't fool with them. That was hands off. We probably got shot if we I don't know. But any questions you want to ask, I can't remember everything, but
Well, I think we'll have the videographer take some shots of all the things that you brought for us to see, but I do want to thank you, Mr. Hill, for coming in and participating in our Veterans History Day project and just for sharing all your stories with us.
well, I want to thank you folks too for doing this. It's I've never considered myself a hero. The only heroes was them that never came back alive. In any war, that's the only hero as far as I'm concerned. Some of them might be injured and all that, but they're alive. And the only heroes is them that didn't come back.
That's the Chinese version of this. That goes with the medals.
Yeah, they've seen the map. They don't want it.
Yeah, I think he wanted it.
Yeah, maybe you can show us.
There was a movie made of our group in Gobi Desert. What was the name of that movie?
The Gobi Desert.
The Gobi Desert. Anyway, there was this movie made. Imagine Navy
Oh, I'm
men
trying to
in
find
the
that
Gobi
where he
Desert.
was.
Oh,
here This was written by their admiral. This book was a different kind of war. Was written by their admiral. And this shows where he was.
Yeah, can you show us on that map very well?
Right here.
I hope anybody's ever interested and want to